Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Season 5. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of Drewling Samantics. Lovely to have you here with us.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to Season 5 of Drewling Samantics. Or indeed, if you are new and only just joining us, welcome to Drewling Samantics. Slightly different this week. For those long-time followers, listeners, viewers, you may notice or you may hear or recognise that we're back in my flat, Drew.
The spiritual home, may I say, of Drewling Samantics. For it was here 4 and a tiny bit seasons ago that Sam sat in the middle of the unwelcome guests, that horrible period that we all suffered, and went, what am I going to do to make my life brighter? And goodness knows why, he rang me and said, do you want to do a podcast, Drew? And I went, good idea, Sam. And so here we are, 4 seasons down, 4 wonderful seasons.
4 wonderful seasons.
We've had a fantastic time, and here we are kicking off season 5.
Yeah, so normally, as most people are probably aware, but again, if you're new, you might not be. Normally, we would be in our respective studios, or for you, in your front room on the sofa
of dreams.
Yes. I would be in my studio, and we would be communicating via Zoom. Other online communication services are available.
Yes.
Skype.
There is no I in Teams or Skype or anything. Yes, there we go.
I mean, there's not one in Zoom either. But,
anyway, there we go.
But Zoom is how we would normally communicate and how we first started. As you mentioned, obviously, being locked down and under the jurisdiction of the unwelcome guest, we were on Zooms. But today, like we were with the first episode of season 4, we are in my flat. We are together.
Unleashed.
Yes.
Unleashed, mate. Yeah.
Making the most of not being able to see each other for a little while, being that you were on tour. No, you weren't. You were. I was on tour.
You were on tour.
You were away.
I've been sent to Coventry, not saying a word.
Yes, indeed.
But I was.
But isn't it good to be back?
Isn't it good? It's good. And we have been unleashed, but we're never unleashed too far from a little drinking.
Yes, indeed.
I'd like to raise a glass to you, Sam,
cheers,
and to all our lovely listeners, subscribers and watchers. Welcome to Season 5. Here we go.
Welcome to Season 5. Cheers. And I'll tell you what, Drew, what a season it promises to be.
Well, Season 4 was fantastic. If we come anywhere near that, we're going to have a great season.
We are, yeah, absolutely. And I think, obviously, we've had 4 amazing seasons, and each of them has had phenomenal guests. We've been incredibly lucky to be joined by such talented people from such a wide range of different areas within the industry. And that level of guests is not going to drop because we've got some amazing people queued up for this season.
We have,
as well.
and we're going to try and spread ourselves a little bit wider. We're going to try and touch even more areas of the industry, because that's what the whole premise of Drewling Samantics is about. We're going to try and bring you those little hidden gems from the industry that we might not know anything about, know a tiny bit about and want to learn more. And hopefully people out there in podcast land are going, so what does so-and-so do? And we will try and bring that person, we'll try and bring so-and-so to you. And learn a bit more.
I mean, that's kind of the main point, isn't it? So today's episode is obviously a precursor to what's coming with the rest of the season. So we do want to talk about what we want to come from this season. We've been very lucky to make 4 seasons, and obviously we're indebted to our amazing followers. Without them, without you guys, I don't know where we'd be. I mean, we started this because we were 2 lonely actors in the middle of a lockdown that couldn't go to work, didn't get to see each other, and couldn't go to the pub and have a moan. And obviously that's why we kind of did this. But it's grown into this incredible thing where not only are we able to vent a little bit and have a chat and a bit of banter, we've also learnt a huge amount about different areas of the industry. We've been able to embrace the restrictions we've had, but also look at post-restriction, the sort of things that we've been able to do and that maybe we took for granted in the past. And also to meet new people, speak to new people, find out more about different areas of the industry, and pass that knowledge and those behind the scenes kind of looks if you like, on to others who are fans of theatre or movies or music or whatever, but don't get to see the full package, shall we say.
Well, it was interesting, wasn't it? Because I mean, you say when we started this, we were stuck very much at home, not being able to work, as millions of other people were. Yeah. But our industry became very important to a lot of people, and to us as well, because we were stuck inside, not being able to work. So we watched our televisions, we watched Netflix, Amazon, all those other platforms, and we and all the millions of people, we really appreciated that. But then it became, when we started to talk, we went, there's an awful lot of people involved in the industry that we don't know a lot about.
Yeah.
The makeup artists, the people who make wigs, the stuntmen, people like. So that's what we've endeavoured to do over the last 4 seasons, is bring the unsung heroes, as well as people that we know an awful lot about as well, but bring those into focus a little bit. So I think we're going to try and do that even more this season.
Yeah, so I think it was
areas of the business.
I think we became very aware during the lockdowns just how perhaps taken for granted the media world is. We were, not to kind of go on and on about it, we are past these things now and we are moving on, but we were a little bit forgotten by the government, and the support was not sort of readily available as it might have been for other industries. Not suggesting that other industries are less valuable, but we were in one that actually, the more and more we were locked down and restricted, became so apparent that it was so important, because without books, movies, TV, streaming services, recorded theatre, voiceover, podcasts, audiobooks, I think it would have been a very lonely and very difficult time for a lot of people. So I think that awareness did grow, but what we wanted to do is go, right, now you're becoming aware of just how important these things are. Let's have a look at the people that come together to make those things happen. And even when we're being appreciative of these different mediums, that they're not really celebrated in the same way, because they are, as you said, the unsung heroes. And yes, in the previous seasons we've done that as much as possible. This season we want to do it even more. Yeah,
I think it's interesting you say about the unsung heroes and how important those media were. But the world has had a little bit of a shift to, the way everything works has over the past, I think probably for me, about since maybe the new year or whatever, or 5 months, everything's a little bit shift. Everybody's had to readjust. We're kind of back to whatever normal may mean. We're back to a normal, or a norm, but everything has changed and adjusted, and I think it's our industry, our business has had to change, has had to adapt, as have dozens of millions, hundreds of other industries. But I think we want to kind of go, okay, great, we're not any more or less important than anyone else, but there's been a real change in how our industry is appreciated, looked, worked in, and moving forward, how we're going to have to change practices, because so much has moved online. I mean, a lot of our method of finding work has gone online. We talk a lot about doing self-tapes, which is, filming our auditions, then sending them off to the casting departments or producers, directors to get work. So I think season 5 we're going to try and reflect some of how the business has moved on, how we approach our work differently, and how it's actually better, hopefully, fingers crossed, better for everyone. So we're going to try and get out and about a little bit, aren't we?
Well, yeah, this is something that we've said a few times, haven't we? And each season we've tried to sort of push it a little bit more. But I think maybe season 5 is a big jump.
I think it's the time to do it.
We've already got some really interesting trips, I guess you could call them,
I think so.
Organised. And what we want to do is bring the opportunity to show the behind the scenes, albeit audibly mostly, of the things that perhaps you don't think about, or the things that maybe you're completely aware of but don't understand or don't have the knowledge of how they're put together. So again,
sorry to interrupt, even things that we might take for granted as well.
Exactly. So we're going to get out there a bit more. We've got some trips booked. We've got some things that we want to be able to showcase on this season, and alongside that, as we say, we've been hugely honoured to be joined by some incredible guests over the past 4 seasons. I can't believe how lucky we've been to have these people with us, and that incredibly high level of visitor is going to continue because we've got some brilliant guests.
Yeah, I mean we're 4 seasons, 60 episodes old, and we've been a long journey. It might be interesting if we can at some point, maybe not all this season, but moving on, to go back and revisit some of those people that we met before and gone, okay, 60 episodes ago you were struggling with the unwelcome guest, and we were all up against it. How are you doing now? Have you risen above it? Have you gone through hard times? We've all gone through hard times.
Yes. Yeah.
So it might be interesting to do that.
Well, we'll certainly see if there are some familiar faces that pop up over the season.
Absolutely.
And we'll bring some brand new faces as well.
Oh, definitely.
Albeit voices, if you're on the podcast, not on the YouTube. Either or, we're going to bring the best content we can, and hopefully no one will miss out on anything, and everyone will experience some new things, some entertaining content. And I guess that's, from our perspective as well, bringing some new things. We've done lots of amazing things and met some amazing people that we certainly wouldn't have done had we not been doing this podcast.
No. I've just remembered something.
Oh, here we go.
No. We had a brilliant season 4.
Yes.
However, there's one little hangover from season 4 that I think we might address before we get into the deep dark depths.
Okay, go on.
Season
5. I'm intrigued.
Do you remember we at one point we talked about a certain celebrity that had an altercation with another certain celebrity in front of quite a few other celebrities, and at that time we said, I wonder what will happen to that certain celebrity. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
I've just clicked.
You've just clicked, haven't you? I'm trying to be delicate about this.
Yeah. Okay. Shall I be blunt?
You be blunt. You be blunt.
So what my compadre here is referring to, I'm pretty sure, is a certain Mr. Will Smith.
You got it.
Who slapped a certain Mr. Chris Rock at a certain Oscars ceremony.
Oh, you put it so well.
There we go. Yeah, I mean, couldn't have put it better.
Couldn't have put it better. But I was trying to, yeah.
So no, you're absolutely right. So we talked about the incident. It was hard not to. It was absolutely everywhere in the media, every news company. And I think I might know where you're going with this, because we got to a point where we were discussing the outcome of said altercation, as you put it, what actions should be taken, how Mr. Smith should potentially be punished or be held accountable. And we threw options out there and discussed what our personal opinions were. And we kind of left it at a point like, wow, let's see what happens. Now, as it turns out, as we were having this discussion, which was, I want to say it was a Saturday morning.
I think it might have been because I was about to go off to do a show, to do a matinee.
Oh, of course you were.
We were recording for Sunday Going Live.
Yes,
yeah.
So we went out on the Saturday morning,
right,
ready for the episode, which will have come to viewers on the following Sunday evening at 5:00. Now, little did Drew and I know,
at the time of recording,
yes, there had already been a decision. So I think what had happened is we were recording quite early that morning, and things had obviously taken a turn that evening, and it started to be announced late in the evening in the news, and potentially early the following morning, or early in the morning when we were recording. Neither of us had seen the updated news, and it turned out, I think, at that point that we discovered that Will Smith had been banned from the Oscars for 10 years.
He'd been kicked out. Let's not be polite about this. Yeah, he's been banned. He'd been banned from the Oscars ceremonies for 10 years.
The ceremonies for 10 years, but he'd also been removed from
the Academy.
From the Academy. Yes,
Academy Award. Yeah.
As far as we know, there was no. I mean, there might have been consideration, but he never lost his Oscar. They didn't talk about doing that, which is one of the main things we focused on actually, because we said there are potentially other people who have done things that in the grand scheme of things, might make slapping someone else seem quite small. Not that we're advocating violence.
Don't condone violence. Don't condone violence.
But in the grand scheme of things, there were people who had done
Yeah, they've done...
who still held Oscars and had never had those
removed.
Reversed. Yeah. But when we were recording the episode, we did not know that Mr. Smith had been banned for 10 years and removed from the Academy. And then we had a lovely long-time listener who got in contact and went, Oi, you idiots.
He's been done.
Yes. Yeah, what do you mean you don't know what's going on?
I don't know what's going on.
It's already happened. Not in those words. He was...
No, he put it far better than we could put it, but yeah.
But essentially, just to clarify, if anyone else did wonder, the reason why we didn't say that is because we didn't know. It's as simple as that.
It was too early in the morning.
Yeah. As if you go back and watch, you can probably
tell that it was
the bags under the eyes
and
falling asleep halfway through. But I tell you what, you talking about that has made me think of something else.
More?
Because we were literally, and I mean literally, inundated with a comment.
It was yes. Our post bag was full with this particular
letter,
comment.
Not letter. We're in the 2020s. I mean, do
2021
letters exist anymore? No, it's 2022.
It's 2022, isn't it? Yeah.
Drew's still last year. It's all right. I've
when postage was cheap.
It's living in the past. Why does that not seem unusual?
Appropriate.
Anyway, so yes, we did. We had another comment, which was quite an entertaining one, I find. So it relates very much to partnerships, to duos, and it actually is cited as a reference, I believe, Ant and Dec. Because for those of you who watch on... No one's got a clue on what
nobody's know Ant and Dec.
No, for those of you that watch us on YouTube, you will notice that when we are on Zoom, other recording options are available, but we use Zoom. When we're on Zoom, you will tend to find, Zoom in a word, you will always find that if it is an episode where just Drew and I feature, in the top left-hand corner is Drew. Me. In the top right-hand corner... No, not even top right-hand corner. I've confused myself already. In the middle of the screen, but on the left-hand side is Drew.
Me.
On the right-hand side is me. If we have a guest, then I go to the top right, you go to the top left, so we move further up the screen and the guest sits in the middle.
And they nestle beneath us.
Yes. Unless we have two guests. Oh, no, always the two guests are in the middle as well, because they've always been on the same camera. Yeah, so who knows? We may have multiple guests on at the same time.
Steady, we don't know what to do.
Well, no, I don't know what to do.
I won't know where to sit.
No. But either way, you're on the left, I'm on the right. So again, anyone watching YouTube will notice that right now,
what are they doing?
That's not the case at all. And this particular comment from a good friend of ours actually said, "Oi, you're not Dec and Ant. You're not Wise and Morecambe,
Ball and Cannon.
Yeah, or you are not Sam and Drew. You are Drew and Sam. We're the wrong size."
Got told off.
We did. So what are we going to do about it?
Well, I'm not going to move now because I'm very comfortable.
No,
and I've got my beer in front of me.
And to be honest, we weren't going to do anything about it anyway.
No, we won't.
It was just an interesting comment to receive that we were not the normal size. So there we go. We had one very observant viewer on YouTube.
It's nice to know that there's not there's other people out there with as OCD as I am.
Well, I don't know about as OCD.
Well, maybe not. But yeah, that was a comment. But I mean, it is interesting that we have had some comments, and we would like more observations and more. We would like to be. I think we mentioned a bit. We'd like to be challenged. As we go into our fifth series. So if anybody's got any areas that they want us to explore, anybody that we can try and meet, and we will try and do this now. We have cast our net wide to try and get some, shall we say, some top flight people in so we can pin them down. That's not illegal. You are allowed to pin down a celebrity.
Yes, absolutely.
But but if anybody has any areas that they want us to explore, anywhere they want to go, we'd love to know about it.
Of course,
we want to be challenged.
Yeah, I think it's very much a case of the podcast, as we've said, started for a couple of reasons. One being that we were going stir crazy and hadn't had an opportunity to rant about anything together for a while, and because we weren't working together, we used online as an outlet for that. But also we wanted this to be an opportunity for people who are either not part of the industry or involved in a very specific part of the industry to branch out and to see other things. So if there are areas of the industry you feel we haven't addressed, or certain job titles or roles that we could bring people on that do those or are involved in those, we'd love to do that. We want this to be something that is informative, entertaining, and fun for everyone. And without our audience, this is just me and Drew having a beer and having a chat.
Absolutely.
Which nothing wrong with that.
Which is very pleasant, but I mean, we have learned an awful lot from the guests that have come on. And it's not to be, like we're here to teach you something. That would be ridiculous. But, it is good to appreciate other sides. It is good. And it's great if people go, I would like to know about. And if we can do that, that would be brilliant. We can
absolutely. So
some information and be entertained with it as well.
Yeah, anything you want to learn about different areas of the industry, or anything that you've always wondered about, or people in particular you think would be great guests, we'd love to have some suggestions. There are so many ways to get in contact with us. All our social media platforms have direct messaging, and you can comment on anything. And I have to say, we've been incredibly lucky that we've had such amazing support all the way through, from the word go. Yeah. The amount of shares, comments, likes, and just general positive feedback and things from people. It's been heartwarming, and it's made what we do even more worthwhile. It's enjoyable for us anyway.
It's great fun, but as you say, to be welcomed and appreciated makes our job so much easier. Makes our podcast so much easier.
Yes, absolutely. So we try and podcast for our listeners, for our viewers, and we'd like you to have more of an input in that respect. Please. So, as said, we have some amazing guests booked already. We have some on-the-scenes stuff or visits or trips or whatever you want to call them also organised. But there is scope for a lot more, and we will always try and be as flexible as possible and involve things that people want to see and want to know about and want to hear. So that's our kind of goal, I suppose, for this season. We want to make it more entertaining for everyone. We want to push ourselves. We want to bring something that's new and challenging and different. We want to do what others aren't doing, albeit within the constraints that we have, because we're not...
And we're always learning as well, aren't we? I mean, we're learning the whole medium of podcasting is getting so much more popular and so much more sophisticated, and that we can always learn and get better as well. We'd like this to be as good for ourselves and everybody listening and watching as we can possibly be. So if there's any way that we can improve things as well, let us know that, because we're always willing to get better.
Yeah, I mean, constructive criticism is something that we thrive on in our vocation. That's what we do as performers.
Learn every day, isn't it? It's that learning thing every day. Every day you can learn.
And you can, believe it or not, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
I've played a video game. Sam taught me a video game.
I did.
He didn't teach me. He showed me a nice guy. Yeah. On the Wii.
Yes.
Which I believe is not spelt like we,
it's
wee, spelled completely differently. Modern spelling of we. Yeah.
Yeah. And ironically, it's quite an old console by today's standards.
It is quite an old game as well, but it sits in with you.
Well, it fitted in with you.
Yeah, it fits in with me. Yeah. Yes.
But speaking of learning new things and going on to new things, I suppose we better do what we normally do in every episode and look to the future.
The future.
We do talk about... So rather than going, what have you got coming up this week? Because I pretty much know what you've got coming up this week. They might not, but we will reveal some of that in a bit. But actually, what I'm going to ask first of all is, with view to this new season we've started, season 5, what have you got coming up in the near future to look forward to that might relate back to us?
Well, I I've done. I did some filming, and I've got a couple of screenings coming up of those films, which is new for me because I do stuff, and if I don't get to watch it on television or whatever, I miss it. So I'm going to be going to a couple of screenings, which I'm really looking forward to. But spring is here, summer is coming. I've got some writing and producing
very nice,
projects on the way for later this year, but we're going to start going into production and start writing those, casting them, which is a job that I don't do very often. To sit the other side of the desk and have actors come in and people auditioning for me.
Different experience altogether.
That's going to be a totally different experience, and there's a lot of pressure on that.
Yeah.
So that production side will include some writing, and I've also for a wonderful company called Listening Books, which is a charity, obviously audiobooks. It's a charity that I'm very close to because my late mother-in-law was partially sighted and blind, so it's something that I hold a passion for. So I've got quite a few projects for them, reading books for them. And reading their summer book lists, but also personally, developmental-wise as an actor, I've set myself a task to actually get fitter. I'm going to try and lose a little bit of weight. I'm going to try and get fitter and get to the gym more often and cycling more often in the good weather, and also. Very important, I spoke to. Do you remember when we had lovely Erin Garrity and Paul Labers on?
Yes, indeed.
And they said it's very important. This business will take an awful lot out of you, but you've got to be good to yourself.
Yes.
And have your life. So I'm actually, at some point in the next few months, going to have a holiday.
No, you're not.
Oh, I am.
No, you bloody
Yes,
won't.
well, I'm going to try and get a holiday. It won't happen. I'll get some work, but I'm going to.
It won't happen.
But, And in short term, over the next week, I am actually going to record a book for Listening Books. That's
amazing.
That's something I've got coming up next week. And I think I've got a dinner gig, a dinner show coming up. But long term, that's my long term aims. Sam, I'm going to throw the same question at you. Short term, long term.
Okay, so short term, I've also got some immersive gigs, and I've got a script to read through. Long term, I'm very much hoping that I will have a fairly big filming period this year for a new feature film. I'm still in talks. It's very early days, but it's very promising. So it could be a very entertaining but busy summer for me. I also am moving on to novel number 3 in the Wasteland Road Nights series. Yeah. Yes. Number 2 is now fully available. Go out there, buy it on Audible. Just search for Wasteland Road Nights, Volumes 1 and Volumes 2. Please buy it. It's my lovely voice. So lots more voiceover to come. I've got another big series of short stories that I'm also narrating.
That's nice.
So that should be good. But I guess it's just a case of, albeit we're not without the unwelcome guest, because it obviously still very heavily features in normal life, but we have been dealing with and working through and ignoring to an extent the welcome guests for a little while now.
True.
But things are really starting to open back up now, and my main focus now is bringing things back to normal work-wise and making sure that I am pursuing all the opportunities that perhaps I couldn't before because of the restrictions, and pushing myself and just growing, again, as you say, growing as an actor, and just maybe pushing myself a bit more to do things that perhaps I wouldn't have felt as confident in. But I think a big thing for me, coming back to the podcast, is that I want to take people on this journey. I want to show what goes into certain things and explain things and kind of give awareness to all the little bits and pieces that go into, yes, you might be on a film set filming, that's great, but where did it come from? What built up to that? What other bits go into it?
Yeah.
And again, looking at all the people that are involved in that process, and not just going, well, I'm an actor, I'm stood here and I do some acting. You address everything else that is part and parcel of it. So I think this year, or certainly this podcast season, or what happens during this podcast season for me, I'm hoping will be an eye-opener and will be an opportunity to really embrace and push and go with all the new experiences that come in and the existing ones, but just making the most of them perhaps a little bit more. And on top of that, I'm hoping that during the next few months, I say hoping, I know we're very lucky, that I will get to meet some very, very cool people, some very entertaining and talented people,
cool people
because we know we do have some
We do have
amazing
some very
guests
cool
booked
and
up.
entertaining people coming up.
Yes, and I'm just really excited, and including, may I say, next week. We do have a fantastic guest booked for next week. So that means that you got to come back. So be this your first time visiting Drewling Samantics and hearing our wonderful voices, or be it that for some reason you've stuck with us through 4 seasons and you're still here for season number 5.
There's every reason that they've come back. Every reason.
Yes.
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
We have a wonderful guest book for next week. We have some other wonderful guests booked
Onwards and upwards.
for the rest of season 5, as well as having some amazing work booked for the rest of the season, the rest of this year, which we will do our best to bring to
include
everyone.
you in.
Yes.
We're going to include.
So our fabulous listeners will get to be part of what we're doing, be that together or on our separate paths, whatever happens there. But there are some new and exciting things, not just new for the Drewling Samantics fan base, but for us as well. So lots to look forward to. It's going to be busy, hard work, and strenuous.
But we will keep you every step of the way.
Oh,
Keep
yeah,
you with us
absolutely.
every step of the way.
Keep everyone informed.
Everyone informed.
Keep
You're going to
everyone
travel this journey
on board.
with us.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So-
Inclusivity.
If that sounds terrifying or boring, see you later. But no, we want to keep going with what we started out doing, which was bringing new things to those who perhaps don't have the opportunity to see them.
Yeah.
Metaphorically speaking, obviously hear them or be part of them. But yeah, just a bit of awareness for the rest of the industry, the hidden bits, the lesser known bits, equally to the more known bits, but the people that perhaps haven't opened up in the same way before, or you haven't had the opportunity to hear what they've got to tell you. So here, I think, if you would care to grab a glass,
I think you're probably
Mr. Drew,
right.
here is to a wonderful season with lots of new and exciting experiences.
Here's you. Please come and join us for the journey.
Indeed. We'll see everyone next time. Drew, next time, should we go back on Zoom?
I'll see you on Zoom, shall I?
See you on Zoom.
See you on
Cheers,
Zoom,
everyone.
everyone.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
If you have, then please consider subscribing to our channel and you'll get notified every time a new video is released. Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app.
Please support us on other social media too. We're on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and all our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so please share with your family and friends and we'll be eternally grateful. Stay safe and we'll see you next time.